it's Belinda with Blue Ribbon Designs. I am back for a second video, which is crazy because when I filmed the first one, I thought, I don't know if this is going to be well received. I might have a few people look at it, my good friends. I don't know if this will happen again, but oh my goodness, you guys are so amazing. I'm kind of emotional about it. I had so many comments and likes and subscribes, and Brenda and Laura, shout out to you for talking about me on yours. I just feel really blessed, and I'm excited to bring you a second video to show you my 3 new cross stitch designs that are available now. Before we get started on that, we'll talk about a few things. Housekeeping matters. One, I talk with my hands, and I'm going to try to not be all crazy and waving my hands all over in this video. We'll see how that goes. Also, I need a little jar I can throw money in when I say the word sew, S-O, not S-E-W, but S-O, and Those seem to be my favorite words of choice, and I need a little bell I can ring, or a jar, like a swear jar that I throw money in, or something to keep track of the sews and the ums. But since this isn't scripted, and I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, I'm sure those words are going to come up, and we'll make a check mark each time, or we'll try and do something to stop that. There were a few questions from the last video, and I'll kind of address them throughout and in some future videos. Are there going to be more digital download patterns? Yes. Am I going to change or convert my vintage patterns, my older patterns, over to PDFs? I'd like to kind of do that slowly. If there's certain ones that are really popular and you guys want to see some of the older patterns in PDF digital download format, let me know, and I will go ahead and slowly get some converted over and listed. I have done 2 that were really popular. A lot of questions about the Valentine Wishes, which was just out, and I did a post on Instagram and showcased them, and I had a lot of questions, so I did put that in digital download formats for some of my overseas friends. And the same with Letters, Leprechauns, and Luck, which is a game board sampler, an Irish St. Patrick's Day type piece. So that's also available in digital downloads with the new designs. Another big question, stitch starter rulers. Yes, I finally am getting them back in stock. I'm super excited. The company I was working with couldn't source the material to make them. And since we've moved, I have a different printer, and that printer spent all this time. And then the company I was going to use because of COVID was really slow, and it's just been a process. But I have found a place in Wisconsin that is fantastic, a laser cutter printer. They have already sent me proofs. We are good to go. Rulers are supposed to be shipping to me approximately on the 9th of March. And as soon as I have them in my hands, we'll get them listed back up. Will there be sleeves for them? Maybe not at first. I know some of you really like the little quilted sleeves I make to put them in, but I'm so far behind right now. I'm just trying to catch my breath. So there's that word again, ching. I will try to get some quilted little sleeves made for some to do the little sets again, but for right away, the rulers for sure will be listed. And of course, I have a cross stitch pattern that you can stitch your own sleeve for them. So keep an eye out for that. Gotta look at my notes here. Okay, I think we're ready to go. I'm going to show you the new designs and talk a little bit about each one of them and the finishing. Any of the materials I talk about that I have found on Amazon, there'll be a link to my shop below so you can click and find them. Some of the pieces are Lady Dot Creates. Please make sure you go check out her finishing supplies. I use her chenille, I use her vintage ruler tape. Her new Osnaburg is wonderful. I've used that in some of my pieces. So we'll talk about a little bit about each of those things, but it's Lady Dot Creates on Etsy. So gosh darn it, there it is again, cha-ching. Let's talk about the first new release. This is Pasture Parade. It is part of the Moo the Merrier collaboration, a group of cross-stitch designers trying to get, there was the trying to get, you know, excitement about the Nashville Needlework Market, which I'm not usually a part of, and trying to instead this year, now it's the Needlework Expo, which is a virtual trade show. It was a lot of designers getting together and everyone doing a cow design. And it started out, we all got the same sulky thread pack. We used the exact same threads. There were 12 different ones. I used 7 in my design. The size is, they wanted everyone to stick to 60 by 60 so you could stitch them all together or you could stitch them on their own. Some designs are a little bit bigger than that. And I know some people added some additional colors to their color palette, their thread palette, but I did not. This is Pasture Parade because we have cows in our backyard, and I'll try and put a picture up that shows what I call the cow parade. When they graze along our fence line, they all line up and they seriously move by like a slow parade. So we see all these cows like coming by, and I've always called it a cow parade. So Pasture Parade is how I named it. So this is actually taken right from the picture in my backyard, was the inspiration. The barn is there, but it's way, way, way out in the distance. The sunflowers though came from just, it's springtime. I wanted to, well, it's almost springtime. I wanted to spring this design up. So I added the Kansas sunflowers and just tried to brighten the piece up. The picture was taken, it was either this time of year last year or in fall, and it just was a little drab, and I wanted to make it fun for you guys. So I made it a little more springy, but the photo is definitely my inspiration. I did it as a flat finish for an easel. The backing is hand-dyed Osnaburg from Lady Creates in the color Pilot Light. I picked this blue because it matched kind of the sky, and I thought it really brought it out. So that is what is on the backing. This is a super soft, almost linen-like material. It's hand-dyed. She does quite a few different colors, and I've used some other ones, but it just worked really well for the back on this. I used a 2-tone cord with the gold and the white, and then used just black and white check gingham ribbon, and I attached the actual gingham bow with a pin. The cord, I left the tails long and tied a bow, and instead of tying it in a knot to make the bow at the top, I stitched the center down so that I wouldn't have a big bulky knot. So it just combines kind of the cord bow and the gingham bow. So that is piece number 1, Pasture Parade. Next up, we have what seems to be really popular. This is called Under My Wing. It is a little pin keep, although I don't have any pins stuck in these. You can definitely put pins in them. They were actually designed a couple years ago for 2 of my really good friends in Iowa, Mary and Kimber. Their birthdays are close to each other, and we would all celebrate, the 3 of us, on the same day and have lunch. And a lot of times I make them both the same gifts, but in different colors, or I try and change them up. So I did these several years ago, and I posted a picture on Instagram, and I had a lot of comments and asks about a pattern for it, and I kind of sat it aside, and this whole holding on to my patterns while I try and figure out how to print them, and big mess. And then I realized when I was going to start doing some digital patterns, this one would be perfect. So I pulled it out, I restitched it in 2 colorways. I call this the Robin Red colorway, and this is the Bluebird Blue. And it's called Under My Wing because there is a tapestry needle tucked underneath the wing of the bird. This is Lady Creates chenille. It comes in a million colors, so, well, not right now. She's just getting in the stuff to dye, so she has some colors listed, but not all of them, but there's a whole bunch of colors. And so for gift giving, there's an entire alphabet. You can change the letters. You can put more than 1 letter, and then you can change the color of the spool of thread to your best friend's favorite color. And you could even do chenille that matches you could use other trims there too. It doesn't have to be chenille. It could be pom-poms or ruched ribbon, or you could use whatever you wanted. But for these, I used chenille. And then I put the ruler, vintage ruler tape by Lady Dot Creates around the base. And the base of these are ball jar vintage lids. They're zinc vintage lids. They look like this. You might have some in an attic, in a basement. They can be found on eBay by the dozens, on Etsy. I think they're even on Amazon. They just had that vintage, crusty kind of look that I liked, and I thought it worked really well with these and the vintage ruler tape. It was just really fun to create these, and the finishing work just, I don't know. I feel like that's what makes these shine. I can stitch one up in an evening and finish it the next day, and it's the perfect gift. So cha-ching! That was why these were designed, was to give as gifts. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to stitch one for myself and have it sitting in the studio, but so far I've stitched 6 of these, and they've all been made for gifts. So these lids, check out an antique store, check out your basement, thrift store, eBay for sure. But they're the old ball canning jars. They're the zinc lids. There were some questions about that, so I just want to make sure everybody understands that. I want to show you these trims that I used for these. This is the vintage ruler trim. It comes in big, it comes in, I don't know how, 2 yards. And it's Lady Dot Creates. The Redbird, I used Bird's Nest Chenille, which is just a really fun variegated brown. And I picked this because it looked like a nest. I thought that the chenille just made the whole piece look like the bird was sitting in a nest on a spool of thread. And then the Bluebird was done with Red Barn colored chenille, which is just a beautiful color too. And I just felt it matched the piece itself. So that is design number 2. I'm really excited about these, especially because they came from the idea of giving them to my friends. And so I hope that a lot of you will go out and stitch these for your friends. Finally, we have what I showed you a sneak peek of in my last video. This is my favorite things sampler. And yes, it is a ton of my favorite things. I'm a nature girl, so lots of bunnies, birds, bees, flowers, trees, the whole gamut. There's also sewing things because I love to stitch and sew. We have a ruler, buttons, spools of thread. Up here, there's even some skeins of floss, a tomato pin cushion, another sewing bird. And for the bird, the pattern has the needle charted for you if you want to stitch a needle, but I actually used a John James Petite needle, which is what I used in the little under my wing pin keeps as well. Just a little bit shorter needle, just a John James Petite. That way you don't have a huge needle there. So I just kind of once I finished the piece, ran the needle underneath. I finished it as a quilted wall hanging. It's lighter and I can put them on the 3M hooks and they're easy to take down and exchange, but this would look really good in a frame, in a tray, on a box top. And as all my signature samplers are, I really designed them so you can stitch little parts of it. Like you could do these as a scissor fob or a needle book, or just do the center section as a long skinny piece in a frame. I think would be so cute. I make these pieces because I love the aspect that you can make small things out of them. You could use them for little pin cushions, little bowl fillers, or you can do the entire piece and frame it or put it in a tray. So gosh darn it. You guys, you need to help me with this. I don't know how, but give me some ideas on what I can do to stop saying so. The quilted wall hanging front, the borders are, again, Lady Dot Creates Osnaburg, and I'll show those to you in a second. The orangish one is cheese balls, and the outer border, the green one, is crabgrass. Then I just used a cotton fat quarter and cut strips for binding. It was a connecting threads, I think like a faux linen red fabric. And the back, I used just a floral print that I had in my stash. I don't have any information on it for you, but it just kind of matched the front well. I liked the flowers. I liked that it was red. It just turned out really cute. The other thing I get asked questions on all the time is my hangers and how I hang all of these pieces, and I'll give you some information on that. At Lowe's, I'm sure they have them at Home Depot or Menards or where your large hardware home type store is, you can pick up, and these come in really long lengths. They are, I believe, 1.5 inches by 1/4 inch. The 1/4 inch is key. I think that's the thinnest you can get them. I walk the lumber aisle till I find the 1/4 inch, and I grab several of these really long pieces. Then you can take them to their area there, and one of the gentlemen or women in the lumber department can cut these into lengths for you. I have them cut into 48 inch, 36 inch lengths, a little bit longer lengths. And then when I have small pieces like this, I just use a hacksaw out in the garage and quickly cut them down and sand it a little bit. It's really easy to do if you know your pieces are going to be, 12 inches or 18 inches, whatever the size is. Just ask the guys in the lumber department to cut them down for you. I have probably 24 36-inch ones in my basement right now. So it's just a plain piece of wood. I don't stain it. I don't do anything to it at all. Easy to find. And then I purchased a bag of a bunch of these Sawtooth Hangers, and they are the tap-in kind that you put on with a hammer. They are not the screw-in kind. I used to get the screw-in kind, and you'd have to get little 1/4 inch screws, and it was kind of a mess. And then I found these tap-in ones, and they are in my Amazon shop. So if you're interested in getting some of them, at least you can look at them and see what they are and give you an idea. These are the 1 inch. They come in wider widths as well, but then I just draw a line in the center and I just tap it in with a framing hammer. This whole thing does not take much time. My husband used to do them for me when he had a little bit more time, but they work really great. The back of my piece, I actually, before I put the binding on, if you're a quilter, you'll understand this, I take 2 squares of fabric and I fold them in half diagonally so I have a triangle. And I put the raw edges in the corners, and then the diagonal length is a fold, so you don't have a raw edge there. So the raw edges are in the corners. I put the binding over it, and it gives me these little quilty pockets on the back. And then I'm able to just slide my little wooden piece right in there, and that's how I hang them on the wall. So there've been lots of questions about that, and I just wanted to clear that up. I hope that gives you an idea or helps you. The other thing you can always do is put little safety pins in the corner that are kind of hidden, and then use the little metal pieces to hang on nails or hooks. There's a lot of ways you can hang it if you don't have pockets or a sleeve on the back. This would work with a sleeve as well, as long as you had a break in the center so that you could have your sawtooth hanger there. So this is my favorite thing sampler. These are just some remnants of the stuff that I used for the quilting. This is the crabgrass Osnaburg, hand dyed by Lady Dot Creates. This is the cheese balls that was used for the inner border. This is what I used for the binding. It's just a red, oh, it has a selvage. Let's see if it tells us. Oh, it doesn't, it's blank. But I know it came from Connecting Threads, and I think it's a faux linen. And then this is what I used for my backing, and it is just a floral print that I had in my stash. So that's a little bit about each of these designs. I have filmed a finishing tutorial on how to put the Under My Wing pin keep together. And it's pretty detailed. I sit down, I show you all the supplies. I actually put the whole thing together on camera for you. I just have to film an intro and an outro and do a little editing for the finishing tutorial. but I think it's really going to help you out if you're wanting to learn how to finish. This is an easy, fun finish. And of course, with all 3 of the new patterns, there are finishing instructions included, and I try to be really detailed. And shout out to Terry, who proofed all my patterns. She has for years. I always ask her, since you don't finish, if you read these instructions, could you put it together? Is there anything you would change? So I try to be really thorough for someone who hasn't done any finishing at all, because I've done a lot of it. I know those instructions are really important. So all 3 have instructions. They are all available in my Etsy shop as digital download. They will at some point be available on my website. There's a little bit of a learning curve there. This one woman show built her own website. I've read a lot of books, and I've taught myself everything from scratch. I did not go to school for IT. So it's been quite an interesting experience putting the shopping cart in, getting everything together. But I have all of my vintage patterns, paper patterns, are available on my website, and I will ship them to you. But the digital patterns are not on there yet, and I'm really hoping they'll be on there soon. I did update the website yesterday. I got a fresh new picture on the front. The information on the new designs is on there as well, but it'll just take you to Etsy to purchase them if you're interested in purchasing any of them. And then before I go, I want to show you guys one more thing. I've been working on a quilt for Poppy Cotton. It is for their Goose Creek Garden fabric tour, and I am Friday's stop on my blog, so this will all be done by my blogger, we hope. The quilt top was done. It's really big, and as you can see, I'm injured. I didn't think I could, I always quilt everything myself on my domestic machine. This is the first quilt anyone's ever quilted for me on a long arm. In my wildest dreams, I have a long arm. I want one so bad. I wish money was not an object, because it would be the main thing I would add to my studio. But I took it in to the Quilted Sunflower, my local quilt shop. I love her so much. Anyway, Leslie is fabulous, the owner, great customer service. And I had taken in, I did a quilt in October. It was Moda's Stitch Pink, and they did a block every single day instead of a block of the month. So in October, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen it. I did each block of the day and finished my quilt, and it was really large, larger than any quilt I've ever done. And I took that in to Leslie in December when we worked on inventory. I helped them with inventory. I said, oh, I'm going to bring my quilt in and have you do it. It'll just save me the headache of doing it on my small domestic machine. So I took it in then, and she hadn't gotten to it yet. And she was just about ready to get to it. And when I brought in this special new quilt, I said, is there any way you can get this done for me by March 1st? I really need it back. And I was like, wait, can you exchange it for the quilt you already have for me and put that one at the end of the list so I don't take someone's place, so that I can get this project done for Poppy Cotton? So Goose Creek Garden is the name of the collection. It's so incredible. I can't wait to share it with you on Friday. I know they've already released pictures of it, so if you go to their website, there are pictures on there. Got my quilt, my huge quilt done. Leslie got it quilted for me. I stopped in this week and picked it up, and she let me pick what I wanted for the all-over quilting design on it, and I really wanted something with a goose. I thought, oh, the Goose Creek Garden, this will be really cool to have something with a goose in it. And we looked and looked, and when you search for geese or goose, you get all these flying geese quilt patterns, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted an actual goose, and we found one. She found one that was geese and hearts, and they're all kind of swirled together. And I picked up my quilt this week. I couldn't be happier. I'm going to give you a little peek of it now, but I'm sure I'll be back with another video and show the whole thing then. It's not binded yet, but it's really, really cool. I'm really excited, as you can tell. So try not to knock everything over. This is just a peek of it. Some of the beautiful colors, but I will show you. Let's see if I can wrestle this around with my bad arm. And you can see the little geese on the fabric here. And let me see if I can find, like in the border, a good goose that stands out. Okay, here's one right on the ledge. You can kind of see him here. Beak, Here's his body and wing and his feet. I don't know if that's going to show up well on the video, but I'll put good pictures of it up on the blog when I do my post, and I'll give all the details. And I'm really hoping the pattern will be written in time for the blog post this time. So that is coming. I'm super excited about that quilt. It's just fun. I just really enjoy it. So look forward to the quilt stuff on Friday. I'm going to do a piece on my local quilt shop, show you pictures of her shop and give you a little insight there. A lot of the materials and things I use come from there, so whenever I talk about them, you'll know that you can give her a call or go on her website and order the fabrics and things that I talk about or show in Instagram posts or on my blog. So look for the blog post on the quilt shop. Look for my Poppy Cotton blog hop piece on Friday, and look for a finishing tutorial on this YouTube channel soon. I'm going to say it'll be up in the next few days. I already have the tutorial filmed. I just have to film the intro and outro. Maybe I'll do that after this. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Thank you for all your love and support. I was really nervous about putting out new cross-stitch designs in the digital format and not sending them to shops. And you guys have been so supportive, and the comments have been so positive. I got some negative ones too, but I figure no designs coming out, the shops aren't getting anything. You're not buying supplies from them. You're not helping them at all. I love shops. I really do. If I could print all my patterns, I would. Hands down, love shops. I support them myself. So I figure if I'm doing them in digital format, at least, if I'm not kidding them, which I'm not, you have to go somewhere to get supplies. So I hope you're supporting your local shops. That's important to me. And I'm sad that I got some nasty grams about that, because I've always been 100% behind shops. I want everyone to teach their children to cross stitch and needlework. I think it's important. I think it's a great tradition. And I would never do anything to purposefully upset shop owners. I love this industry. I love cross stitching. I love quilting. I just love being creative. And I want those shops to stay in business that are still out there. So that makes me really sad. I understand their point, and they need to stay in business too. But for me and my small business, the digital patterns is what works right now. Other than that, I just want to thank you all for visiting with me today. I hope you will come back and watch the finishing tutorial. I hope you'll visit my blog. I'll put links down below for anything that we talked about today. And just thank you for all being so enthusiastic and just sending me fun comments. And I know I don't always respond to everything. I've got multiple channels going, and the poor people that comment on my blog, sometimes you get left behind, but I hear you. I read all your comments, and I just want to thank you all for being so supportive of me and my business. And we'll stop back again soon and visit with all of you. Thanks, guys. Bye.